The mountains of North Carolina were bitterly divided during the war. There were very few slave owners, and many people there saw no reason to secede, while others favored secession. Many Unionists banded together into armed groups and became known as bushwhackers. These men were responsible for many cases of looting and murders of Confederate supporters. Unionists in eastern Tennessee had been oppressed by the Confederate authorities until the Union captured the state, and this fueled their rage against Confederates. In addition, Confederate deserters, who were running from the authorities, came from all over the Southeast. Bands of armed men, from both sides of the conflict, terrorized the mountain communities. Occasionally Confederate troops were sent to arrest deserters, but by 1864 lawlessness was widespread. Other Union supporters organized an underground railroad that helped Union soldiers that escaped from the prison camp at Salisbury make their way to the Union Army in Tennessee. Later, several Union regiments of North Carolina Mountain Infantry were formed from pro-Union citizens. Confederate sympathizers formed a home guard of old men and boys to protect the locals from the bushwhackers and deserters. One interesting unit from western North Carolina was the Will Thomas Legion, made up of Cherokee Indians and white men from the mountains. They fought in northern Virginia, in Tennessee and in the North Carolina mountains, and were one of the last Confederate units to surrender. Salt was a valuable and rare commodity in the mountains. It was in short supply throughout the South, and the Confederate authorities only distributed salt to pro-Confederate families. In January 1863, a group of pro-Union men raided the town of Marshall to steal salt. They also raided the house of Colonel Lawrence Allen, the commander of Confederate forces in the area. In retaliation, Allen launched an operation to get rid of the guerrillas. After some skirmishing in the Shelton-Laurel area, Allen's men captured 13 suspected guerrillas. They then marched them into a valley and shot them in cold blood. Governor Zebulon Vance, himself from the mountains, tried to prosecute Colonel Allen for murder, but Allen fled the state. The Shelton-Laurel massacre only inflamed the hatred between Unionists and Confederates in the mountains. In June of 1864, a North Carolina Unionist force of 130 men under Colonel George Kirk entered western North Carolina to raid Camp Vance, a Confederate training camp at Morganton. The camp trained conscripts and surrendered without a fight. 40 of these conscripts joined the Union forces, and the rest were either taken prisoner or set free. Kirk's men retreated to Tennessee, where they fought with Confederates before returning to Knoxville in October. In February 1865, Kirk's men returned, sacking the town of Waynesville.